Hello, it's Rachel back with the Shades of Orange and happy Valentine's Day. Originally, I planned on doing a video talking about some of my favorite romance and dark erotic novels, but when I thought about it, I realized not too many people actually go to my channel looking for those kind of books. So instead, I thought I'd stay more on brand and recommend you some of my favorite books that feature creepy stalker men, because what could be more perfect for Valentine's Day than stalkers? So all that being said, let's get into the books. First, I have to mention my all-time favorite stalker book, and that of course is You by Caroline Kepnes. And this is about a man named Joe who becomes obsessed with a woman he meets in his bookstore called Bex and proceeds to stalk her. This book is unique because it's told in a second-person perspective, so he is describing Bex from his point of view. So he's saying, you walked into the bookstore, you turned your head, etc. And while that may not sound like the kind of thing you'd enjoy reading, it is so well done. I personally recommend reading this book on audio if at all possible, because the narration is really what made this an all-time favorite. It's just so creepy and entertaining. It has a satirical quality to it because Joe is just snarky. So if you're looking for a stalker character with a lot of personality, this is definitely the one to check out. It's so much fun, absolutely loved it, and it's one that I could just reread over and over again because Joe is my favorite stalker, which is kind of a strange thing to admit, but that's me. Next, I want to mention a more underhyped favorite, and that is Creep by Jennifer Hillier. And this is about a college professor who is engaged to a wonderful man. However, she struggles with a sexual addiction, and that leads her to have an affair with one of her students. However, now that she is engaged, she wants to break things off with that student and become true and good to her soon-to-be husband. However, that student does not take the breakup well and becomes obsessed with her and stalks her and seeks out to ruin her life. And the story just escalates from there. It is just fun, it's erotic, it is just really intense. It's quite a page turner and I adore this one. There's one scene that really got under my skin at one point, so it does have some good creep factor to it, hence the title. And I think that is one that more people should definitely check out because it does not get enough attention or hype on BookTube in my opinion. I also want to recommend Perfect Days by Raphael Montes, and this is about a man who is obsessed with a young woman and decides to kidnap her by sticking her in a suitcase and taking her on a road trip around Brazil. And this is supposed to help inspire her to finish her play that she is writing. And the story goes to some crazy places. In a lot of ways, it's very much a nod to classic books like Misery. And I love the fact that the main character is a medical student, and so he has a lot of that training, which leads to a lot of body horror being brought into this book. While it is more of a thriller or suspense, it definitely has some horror elements to it. It is horrifying, and the main character, Teo, is very deadpan. He is a bit of a psychopathic character that really lacks emotion. So if you're looking for that kind of high personality, this character is not like Joe from You. But if you're okay with the fact that he's going to be more deadpan, he's purposely kind of done as a flat character who isn't really aware of why his actions are so inappropriate. It just becomes this crazy road trip from hell, and I loved it so much. So definitely recommend that one. Go in with the right expectations and you'll definitely enjoy it. Next, I want to talk about Watch Me by Jody Gehrman, and this is about a college professor, because apparently a lot of college professors get stalked in these books. But in this case, she has just gone through a divorce and isn't feeling so great about herself. So she is very flattered when she gets the attention of a young, attractive student. And while she tries to hold off, because while he's of age, it's still kind of taboo to be dating a student. But eventually she gets drawn in and they do become involved. And the story goes from there. It's told in two perspectives, One being her student, and you get to find out that he's not really her student by accident. He purposely moved to the city where she works in order to enroll in her class and basically entice her in. And you find out that he is just obsessed with her. And with that obsession comes all the craziness you would expect from a thriller. I really enjoyed his chapters, and he was just dark, and at the same time the woman is actually a very unlikable character, so it's kind of fun to see this big downward spiral as you would expect. So lots of good stuff in that one, very fast-paced, easy to read, and it's just another good example of a fun stalker story. And last but not least, I want to recommend Dying for Christmas by Tammy Cohen, which, yes, is a Christmas themed story, but I actually think it's an incredibly strong thriller that can be read pretty much any time of year, especially if it's still winter outside, because it just holds up as a really good book. This is about a woman who goes to the mall before Christmas and meets a man. She ends up going back to his place. However, he basically kidnaps her and holds her hostage in his apartment over the Christmas holidays. And in this like sick and twisted way, he starts giving her presents for each of the 12 days of Christmas, but they are so messed up, and the story just goes from there. It has some of the best twists and turns. I read a lot of thrillers, so it takes quite a bit for a book to surprise me, and this one definitely did. I went in assuming that it was just going to be this cheesy Christmas read, but like I said, I really think this book just holds up as a thriller. So while it's not Christmas anymore, you can still read it even in like February, March while it's still cold outside, or wait till next year, but it's actually one that is worth the hype. I think it's a lot of fun, and it's definitely one I want to recommend to more people. So that's it. Those are 5 recommendations for creepy stalkers. I know it's not an exhaustive list, so I'd love for you to recommend me some of your favorite stalkers. Otherwise, hope you're having a great Valentine's Day, whether you are single or in a relationship. It's all good. Go eat some chocolate, and I will talk to you soon in another video. Okay, bye-bye.